Recording. Okay.
Good evening, professional speakers and guests. To appreciate the beauty of a snowflake, it is necessary to stand out in the cold. Dear members and guests, I hope you all are enjoying or avoiding the chilly cold that challenges us every time we try to get out of our quilt. So I was thinking, winter is the best thing that happens to the professional speakers because it gives us the perfect opportunities to exercise our will to get out of our comfort zone. Speaking of getting out of the comfort zone, I would like to mention the contributions, the remarkable contributions of two of our members in this particular week. One is about distinguished Toastmaster Rupinder Singh, who got out of his comfort zone, leveraged the opportunity of COVID 19, and delivered a keynote speech in a District 8 yesterday. And he got a huge acclamation of his speech. Can we have a huge round of applause for our distinguished Toastmaster Rupinder Singh? The other member I would like to mention is our distinguished Toastmaster Devina Chaturvedi, who, despite her busy and hectic schedules, she would not compromise with the dynamism and experimentalism of get to play with our agenda to bring out the best. So even if she did not have any time, she came out of the comfort zone and still experiment. She was experimenting throughout the week to bring the best to our members and bring the best format of agenda. Can we have also huge round of applause for our BP Education distinguished Toastmaster Devinath Chaturvedi? So professional speakers is all about getting out of our comfort zone, as distinguished Toastmaster Rupinder Singh says in his keynote speech. Though I have not heard his speech, but I am inferring from his behavior and traits that we all, at some level, get out of our comfort zone and make our mark in the world out there. With this spirit, let's join and jump into our 126th meeting of professional speakers where eloquence meets impact. We provide a positive and supportive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. Now, I would like to acknowledge the distinguished guests who has joined me. Please keep your applause going as I take their names. Please welcome Sindhuja Nandiri, who is also our Power Talk speaker. Please also applause for Ruchita Malik, who is playing the role of timer. Please applaud for our grammarian Savita, who is our guest also. Now, members and guests, as you know, before we jump out to our meeting, we come to pledge to our promise that we make to ourselves and to professional speakers. So let's begin with placing Rasar. Can you give me the right to share the screen? I think I have give all of my rights to you. Thank you very much. Let me share the screen so that we can go for our business segment. Can you all see my screen? Sandeep, can you give me a thumbs up? Thank you very much. This is our particular business segment where all the members recite their short-term goals and their progress in this week. I guess Devina is yet to join. Honey, are you there? Okay. Hello, everyone. I am Mukesh Thakur, and my short-term goal in this professional speaker are fourfold. The first is to reduce grammatical errors to zero. Second is to smooth flow of structured thoughts. Third is towards a deep voice, flawless enunciation and pronunciation. And fourth is to upload a professional video. The action that I have been taking for the first and second goal is I was writing 1000 words every day. And for third, I have been writing 30 minutes loudly every day. This week I have written 7,000 words, and error that I have found was 40 errors per 1,000 words. And in the reading, I have read 44 pages and 1 hour and 30 minutes. My average reading per minute is 140 word per minute, and my goal is to reach 150 words per minute. And in the writing, I have a goal to reach zero errors for 1000 words. And for the fourth goal, I have decided the deadline, but I still need to work out on the blueprints. Thank you very much.
Hello everyone, I'm Raj Mehta, and my short-term goals are linked with my speaking skills, that is to improve my voice, my accent, my pronunciation. I write, I won't say exact number of words, but sometimes some stories or sometimes some articles, and it is I am trying to regulate it, but somehow it's not happening. Regarding the other roles of uploading videos on social media, that has not yet started, and I shall be starting it very soon. Thank you very much.
Good evening, everyone. I have 4 short-term goals. The first one is to reduce scratch words and filler sounds to less than 4 in an 18-minute speech. Have 0 grammatical errors. Third, to use at least 4 new or uncommon words or phrases in 18-minute speeches, and at least 1 uncommon word or phrase in a 5 to 7 minute speech. And the fourth one is for 0 defect in time limits. During the last week, there was no counting for the R counts or grammatical words or time limits. I shall be reporting status for next week. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. It gives me great pleasure to announce to you that I successfully completed one of my short term goals, which was to deliver a keynote. Thank you, professional speakers, for all the support in helping me achieve my short term goals. I have set a new short term goal for myself, which is to create a minimum 60-minute course to be deployed on Udemy by March 31, 2021. I have outlined a basic timeline. I will be elaborating more on that, and I will be posting regular updates on Google Drive, the link of which I will share with the club. Thank you.
Very good evening, fellow members and guests. I have revised my short-term goals and focusing on English language and grammar for next 2 months. Based on the feedback on the last 2 meetings, I have improved on English language and grammar. There, I need still improvement. I need still improvement of improved speaking, which I will be covering in this month. Over to you, presiding officer.
Thank you very much. Shivpriya, are you there? Can I come back to the member who had just joined?
Thank you, Presiding Officer Mukesh. I'm Devna Chaturvedi. My short-term goal has been recently updated, and that is to conduct 4 45-minute to 1 hour online improv jam sessions by 30th April 2021. I've mentioned how I plan to check my progress in the slide as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Can we have a huge round of applause for all our members and their efforts to their short-term goals? Let me think what we have to do the next. We have to think, or we have some plan in action, or our VP8 has something put on our plate, or some member is ready to do something. I don't know, but let me invite for this our Toastmaster of the day. Distinguished Toastmaster Raj Mehta is a visiting faculty trainer in soft skills and a speaker on entrepreneurship, innovation, and incubation. Is a two-time distinguished Toastmaster. A postgraduate in science and MBA in finance, Mr. Mehta has a rich work experience of 35 years in management and trainings in private, multinational, and government organizations like UB Group, FSEOR Group, and Ministry of Power, and as a technology transfer officer at Foundation for Innovation and Technology Transfer and Industry Interface Unit at Indian Institute of Technology, Delhi. He is fond of listening and watching birds, people, greenery, and music, etc. A progressive learner and experimenter, he strongly believes that perseverance takes you to places. With a huge round of applause, please welcome distinguished Toastmaster Master Raj Mehta. Let me think. Let me think, distinguished Toastmaster Raj Mehta.
Thank you very much, Mukesh Thakur, DTM, the President. Dear members in the audience, there is a question. Okay, let me ask it from Devina Chaturvedi. Devina, suppose Rubal wants to elope with someone and asks help from you. What will be your first sentence in response to Rubal's situation?
What? Tell me everything.
Okay, my next question is, it's from Rupinder Singh DTM. Some people are talking on a subject at a party. Without invitation, you start commenting in their talk. One of them asks you to get out. What you should have done before joining them?
Maybe broken the ice with them first, spoke to them first.
In both of these situations, one needs to ask himself, let me think. Because no person would react in a situation when somebody wants to elope with someone and just help him or her. Similarly, if someone has been asked to get out, he or she will have to ask himself, let me think, what wrong thing I have done with myself or with others, isn't it? So there are situations when we have to ask ourselves, let me think. We all fall in or face situations when we need to react or want to enter into them. Many times we feel sorry as we think that I should have said to let me think before reacting or acting on my actions. You will be amazed or surprised to know that whenever I ask my boss for a raise in salary or upgrading my designation, he always said, let me think. This has been going on since last 5 years. Yes, my dear friends, I didn't receive any increment during the last 5 years. But this year, on 1st January 2021, I put in my papers seriously and said, boss, either you accept my resignation or give me what I have been requesting to you. Next working day, that is on 4th of January, he not only increased my salary open-heartedly, but also upgraded me as senior officer, administration and incubator at ITO. My points are, we must think when it is needed, but at the same time, we must respond without thinking when situation may go out of our hands. By the way, thanks to all who completed my 3 words, let me think in their unique and interesting way. Before I dwell on the theme, I would like to now introduce the structure of our meeting. Professional Speakers is a unique club in many ways. We have 6 sections. In section 1, we conduct short-term goals by members who are available in the meeting, which has already been done. In section 2, we have a special around 18-minute speech by one member of our club, and today we shall have the speech from Devina Chaturvedi, DTM. It's a unique feature which is unique to our club. In section 3, segment 3, we have table topic session which shall be conducted by Toastmaster Sandeep Kumar. In section 4, we have prepared speeches as per pathways guidelines. Today we have speeches from Rupinder Singh DTM and Shivpriya Gauri DTM. In section 5, we have a power talk speech. It is again unique to our club, in which a 10-minute session is delivered by one of the celebrities or experts in communication. And today we have Sindhuja Nanduri DTM as our power talk speaker. In last section, general evaluation, we evaluate all the activities which are done in section 1 to section 5. And this section today shall be conducted by Mukesh Thakur, DTM. At the same time, we have some supplementary role players. Today we have Toastmaster Savita Gyan Chandani, who shall be playing the role of grammarian. I would request the Toastmaster Savita Gyan Chandani to tell us the word of the day.
Thank you so much. The word of the day is deliberate, and it can be used as verb and as adverb. First, verb. Its meaning is to engage in long and careful consideration. For example, it is used as she deliberated over the menu. Second, adjective. Its meaning is done consciously and intentionally. For example, a deliberate attempt to provoke conflict. So whenever someone is using this word of the day, I request everyone to please give a thumbs up so that he or she will be motivated. And this is all about the word of the day. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Savita. I would request you to kindly put the word of the day in our chat so that people will be able to see it. Now we have next supplementary role player, our counter, which shall be played by Toastmaster Rolly Sinha. Toastmaster Rolly Sinha, a language passionate of fanatic. I request Toastmaster Rolly Sinha to kindly tell us about the role of the counter.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster of the meeting. The role of the R counter is to identify the repetitions, filler sounds, filler words, crutch words, short or long pauses, and I shall be delivering the report when the general evaluator calls me during the evaluation segment. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster of the meeting.
Thank you, Toastmaster Rolly Sinha. Our next supplementary role player is of timer, and this role is being played by Toastmaster Ruchita Malik.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I'm your timer for today, and I'll be keeping time track of all the prepared speeches, role players, and the typical speech, prepared speech is for 5 to 7 minutes. I'll show a green card at 5 minutes and yellow card at 6 minutes and the red card at 7 minutes. As Raj sir just mentioned that there will be one speech for 18 minutes. So I'll show a green card at 16 minutes and amber at 17 and red at 18 minutes. So there is a grace period of 30 seconds on either side. For table topics, each speaker is required to speak for 1 to 2 minutes. I'll show a green card at 1 minute, the yellow card at 1 minute and 30 seconds, and red card at 2 minutes. I'll share my screen and I will show these cards by sharing my screens. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Ruchita Malik. I'm sure when I say audience, are you ready for an exciting meeting? You won't say, let me think. Taking the meeting further, let's start with our second segment, which is a professional speech. And this shall be delivered by Devina Chaturvedi, DTM. Over the last 5 years, as a Toastmaster, Devina Chaturvedi has been known to challenge herself to deliver different types of speeches. Her favorite speeches are those where she presents a breakdown of different aspects of public speaking in simple and memorable terms. A budding speaker and storyteller, before she made the error of prioritizing her education over all else, she served as a leader in District 41 at the club, division, and district level. Her motto in life is to find method in madness. And she is most inspired by the words, we must accept finite disappointment, but never lose infinite hope and these words are from Martin Luther King Jr. She is a master's in economics by education and a research consultant by profession, a self-proclaimed lifelong student of dance by passion. Our short-term goal is to conduct 4 online improv jam sessions of 45 to 60 minutes by April 2021. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Devina Chaturvedi, DTM, Absorption Through Observation. Absorption Through Observation, Devina Chaturvedi, DTM.
Hello, everyone. How are you doing today? No response? Is everybody all right? Thank you, Raj sir. So what I'm going to tell you about today is just observation and absorption through it. If you've seen your life recently and just tried to analyze what you've been doing, you'll realize that you've been surrounded by way too many distractions. They are your phones, your social media, could be your kids, or just yourself and your thoughts. They can be very distracting when you're traveling or whenever you are in any situation. For example, just as I was about to enter this meeting, I got a call from my manager and I was completely distracted by that. Right now, also, as I'm talking to you, in my head, I'm thinking about what I have to do right after this meeting, instead of really focusing and being in the moment right here, right now. What I'm trying to tell you is that there will always be far too many distractions. You will always have your inbox full of emails that you haven't checked, because who checks promotional and updates? And then when you get out also with your friends, you'll find out that people are more focused on what they have in their hands, that is their phone, instead of focusing on having conversations with each other. Have you ever been in a situation where somebody sitting right next to you texted you to communicate something instead of saying it out loud? Rupinder is nodding. These are the kinds of things that we've adjusted to, or we've made ourselves okay with. But in that process, what we're losing out on is the power of observation and however much we can learn from it. We're all surrounded by technology. What that does is that acts as a constant distraction. Right now, sitting right here, looking into the camera, can you tell me about things that are behind you? Can you tell me the number of books that are there in your room? Can you tell me the color of the curtains in your drawing room? Those are the kinds of things that we fail to observe, even though we see them every single day, just because our focus is more into the technology that surrounds us instead of the actual things that surround us. In this process, when it comes to life, we're always playing catch up. We never take a moment to just stop, observe. Our lives are so busy that it will be so that we're always playing catch up. But if I tell you that the reason why we all often play catch up is because in our jobs or in any other areas, when we are forced to think about new ideas, what happens is we often fall short of them, and we try to figure out what is the best way that, and that takes a lot of time. Most of our time is spent in coming up with new ideas. We spend a lot of time in research, spend a lot of time talking to each other. We also spend a lot of time just cursing ourselves of not having enough time. That's the catch-up game that it becomes. Our day-to-day tasks require a lot of thinking and research. Let me tell you, all of this can be sorted by something that's not magic. Something that's proven for a lot of people to be extremely useful. Something that drives creativity and makes a lot of tasks easier, especially if they're based on some creative instincts. Would you like to know more about it? What I'm talking about is the power of observation. It's a muscle, it's not magic. It can be trained and developed. All it requires is your full attention in the moment. Is this you right now? Let me make it easy for you and tell you exactly how. As I said, it's not magic, it's just muscle, and it can be trained. The first step to observation is through voice. You must listen and understand what somebody is saying. Just by, we're all Toastmasters here, at least most of us, and we know the importance of vocal variety. We did an activity last week with distinguished Toastmaster Rudra, where just putting different intonation to different words, we decipher different meanings behind the same sentence, the same words. That is the power of listening. And listening is also observation. Listening is just observation through your ears. But just listening is not enough. You must understand and decipher where the person is coming from. Must reflect in order to be able to do that on what you've just heard, whatever you've just taken as an input. Multitasking, if you are trying to observe something, is a myth. Multitasking will just make you many things. There are a lot of people who thrive on multitasking in the sense that when they're doing 5 things together, they feel they are more efficient. But trust me, that is just because you get bored from one thing and then you want other things to do in the same time. But if you truly put your heart to it and do one thing at a time, you'll finish the entire lot of tasks faster. The amount of time you spend in multitasking just trying to figure out what do I do right now is way more than the time it would take you to get the tasks done. At least that's the case for me and a lot of people that I know. You must cultivate your powers of observation. And you can start with a Toastmasters meeting. Just observe how somebody is doing something and try and gather what you can take from it. Even if it is things that you don't want to do in the future or you don't want to become into, you must try and observe everything that you can and then absorb it so that you have a wealth of knowledge when you're trying to tackle some issue. Okay, look at this exercise. So where all can you, this exercise, I'll tell you about it. Initially, I thought we could do it, but I'll skip that because I understand a lot of us don't have enough space to walk around. What you can do is just walk around your room and observe. Start by observing the number of colors that you have in your room. Start by observing, just sitting in silence or just walking around the room, what are the kinds of sounds you can hear right in your room. Would somebody like to do that just sitting down? I can't see everybody. So if you'd like to volunteer, let's take 2 volunteers and you can just unmute yourselves. Okay, so we have Mukesh and Raj. Okay. Mukesh and Raj, will you also moderate for me for the other exercise? Thank you. So Raj sir, you try and observe the number of colors in your room. And Mukesh, please try and observe the sounds that you can hear besides mine. Okay, how many could you count?
Color?
3 sounds other than mine. Yes, Raj sir, colors?
Okay, 7.
7 you could count already in less than 30 seconds.
Yeah.
So imagine if you were able to, let me start with sound. So if you were able to gauge these many sounds, imagine being in a public space and hearing these many sounds coming out of people. And if you try and absorb those, how much would it add to your own vocal variety if you can emulate those in the time to come? For colors, as the VPPR, you know you will be challenged with creating a lot of creatives in the time to come. Just imagine, just by 30 seconds, you have 7 colors in your arsenal. If you spend more time in observing colors and the shades of those colors in your room or in your surrounding, imagine the color palette that you will be equipped with to create all those designs that you will have to. So just these are the little things that we can observe, which can truly change how we function in our everyday life. You can do these observation exercises in shops, same colors, sounds, even the types of products, the different varieties of the same product, or people, of course. Observing people is something that's very important for speakers, for sure. As I told before, you get vocal variety from them. You can even gauge body language from them. How does someone laugh? How does someone smile? How does someone make their face? How does someone express through their facial expressions anger, frustration, or happiness? If you can get all of these observations in your mind and then utilize them in the time to come, just imagine how much it'll improve your speaking skills, how much it'll improve your communication. For people trying to build a vocabulary, trust me, whatever I know of English, I practically know it from watching and observing actors playing parts in US and UK TV shows. Apart from, obviously, whatever all of us were taught in school, there is what you consume consumes you. So if you consume content in a manner that you want to be delivering, you will tend to become it and you'll start absorbing it so slowly and slowly if you take the time to observe. You can learn a lot from seasons as well. How do people react in different seasons? I don't know about you, but somehow winters do get me. Throughout winters, I'm always low, and as soon as summer sprouts, I'm the happiest person that there could be. It does affect me, and I'm sure it affects a lot of other people. And there might be some people who are not affected by seasons at all. You know how I don't know about you, but my mother always tells me that, don't eat this fruit, it's not of this season. Don't eat this fruit, it's not of this season. So those are also learnings that she's gotten from observation. I don't think anybody told her that, these are not fruits you buy in this season. But she learned it from observation that in this particular season, these fruits don't taste as good. Those are the kinds of things you can learn from a season, which can really enhance your life. Coming to learnings in terms of speaking from seasons, seasons can tell you a lot about moods. I know a lot of you would have studied those kind of researches where there are a lot of people who derive metaphors out of seasons in their speaking style. So if you observe them, you will be able to incorporate those in your speeches as well. Public transport observation is something that I'm sure you all know very well. This is something that a lot of speakers talk about. Even Mohammad Katani talked about this on several occasions, that if you are in a public transport and you observe how people are behaving, that will give you a lot of insights into building characters for your speeches. Just look at this image. Any volunteers who can tell me one thing for sure that you can observe from this picture?
Train is coming from the left side.
Exactly. Train is coming from the left side. Now, we could delve deeper and try and figure out how what everybody is thinking or what they're doing. Would anybody like to take a guess and try and make some observations about the person standing in white?
He has to board the train.
Okay, somebody else also? MT, could you please moderate since I'm not able to see everyone?
This person is looking on some billboard, maybe about the timing of the train and like that.
Anant, I see your hand.
Yeah, I just have an observation that this photo is perhaps taken from a moving train.
Uh-huh.
They are waiting for the right door to arrive,
Yeah.
but this blurred background gives me an impression that the leftmost person who is almost a shadowy image. So this doesn't look like a still photo. This photo is perhaps taken from a moving train.
No, it is a still. The train in the background is moving.
Can I try?
Please go ahead.
Yeah, the person is waiting anxiously for the train and is wondering whether the train that is arriving is hers or not.
Okay, so definitely all good observations. What I got from this, so just think about how you can utilize these to build characters. What I got from this when I was thinking about characters is this is an aloof person. This is also me when I'm looking for metros. I'm just listening to music, just walking around, looking at the train going around. I also don't feel like talking to anybody else. This person is not interested in observing anybody in the room, just waiting for the train, very purpose oriented. This is my train will come, I'll board, I'll go wherever I have to. What can you say about the person standing in the back looking at their phone, except that they're looking at their phone?
So this person is not in a hurry to board this particular incoming train. Likewise, the case for the rightmost person as well. But the other people who are looking interested, they perhaps are waiting for this particular train.
Exactly. Very true. What else?
The person wants to utilize every single moment of their life, not leave anything wasted, and is trying to utilize this time to probably send out some urgent messages and get something done while waiting.
Okay, so can you also tell me something about this picture by looking at the person on the bench, third person on the bench, third person from the left?
He just found out that this is her train also.
Mm-hmm.
This person seems to be very conscious about the train because I think he has seen the train and now he's got up so that he can get to his seat at the earliest possible.
Exactly. Did any one of you get in by looking at all of these people that the train was actually arriving till you saw and observed that one person? So that is the power of observation. That is the kind of skill we need to develop. By looking at something, it's not just looking at it and giving it a pass, but really seeing what is it trying to tell. What more can I learn from looking at this one still? There are a lot of things that you can learn from this, many more things that you can learn from this, but this one was the key. And I tried to throw you off with asking about the other two, but that was the key, that the train is about to arrive into the station, and that's why a person was sitting now getting up. So another thing you can do if you have the time, and COVID, once it's over or once you have been vaccinated, just go to a coffee shop, sit down for coffee, and try and observe different types of people. Coffee shops are increasingly being used by people running startups, by people not working from office, and of course, college students. So that will give you a wide range of people that you can observe, and the kinds of behaviors you can then absorb into your arsenal. A lot of people who are in sales, there was actually a case study from Zara as well, that they observed their behavior, the consumer behavior in the malls, and then they learned a lot about how people were purchasing, which is why they changed the display arrangements in the stores, and their sales increased with that. So a lot of companies also do this, and if you are into sales, this will also benefit you. If you just go wherever your customers are and make an observation about them, what are the kinds of things they're purchasing, what are the kinds of things they're drawn to, how do they make their purchases, those are the kinds of things you can then learn from that behavior. Always be in interview mode if you have a doubt. If you see something peculiar happening, and if you see somebody tense, don't go to them and ask probing questions. But for sure, if you see a particular action that really interests you, or if you find a voice that is really intriguing to you, do have a conversation with that person. The more you hear that voice, the better you'll be able to absorb it. So it's very important that you take that initiative and always be in an interview mode. It can be a little tough for introverts. It can also be a little tough if you're in Delhi and you're just scared of everybody who's around you. but trust me, it can be extremely rewarding. When in doubt, shut up. I know the parliamentarian would probably call me out for saying this, but trust me, it always helps to just be quiet. As our former member Rubal also once said, speak less, hear more. So when you quiet down, you realize things that you won't otherwise. When Mukesh really focused and we were all quiet, he could hear those three voices. I don't know what those voices were, but he could hear those sounds. So it really pays off to be quiet. Mukesh in our EC meetings also applies this. He stays quiet till the time he really feels that his input is required. And what that does, it puts more weight into his word. So that is also a benefit of staying quiet. But in terms of observation, when you are quiet, only then can you hear what's happening around you. Listen. Truly listen and pay your entire attention to what's going on. Trust me, everybody lies, and that is something that you must accept. Everybody will be lying to you if you just go by their word, which is why you must observe. The trick is also to read between the lines. Why? Because everybody lies. So often you will see that people don't often get sarcasm, especially if it's on text. With vocals, it often becomes clear because vocal variety helps there. But when it's in text, people don't often get sarcasm. So it's very important to read between the lines. Really observe what's going on here. What was the context that we were talking in? Has it ever happened to you that somebody has taken your word out of context and that has strained a relationship for you? Lucky people. Okay. Just Rolly and I. Fine, guys. Really jealous of you right now, but okay, no problem. No hard feelings. But that's true. That happens. That happens every so often, that we don't realize what the person was trying to say, or we feel like we were misunderstood. And that's because either we didn't observe previously of how a person takes certain kind of words, or how a person reacts to certain types of speeches, or they didn't really observe the mood that we were in, or how we try to say that particular thing. These kind of misunderstandings can be avoided if everybody has good observation skills. We can't expect that, of course, but it does help to sometimes try and read between the lines. Just remember, this observation and absorbing observations and whatever you learn from it is not magic. It is a science, and you can do it by taking simple measures, just taking a breather, taking some time to listen, to observe, to see what's going around you before you take an action or before you leave that situation. Not be on your phone can really help when you're in public places or when you are surrounded by people that you can observe. If you, in these times, if you're not observing people, if you're not mingling with people and not able to observe them, just observing your surrounding, your room can also add value to you. It is a muscle and it can be trained. We must remember that. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmasters Devina Chaturvedi. Now we shall observe silence for 1 minute. Timer requests you to kindly show me red card on completion of 1 minute. I can't see timer. Thank you, Toastmaster Ruchita. Now moving on to the next section, which is known as table topic session, which shall be conducted by Toastmaster Sandeep Kumar. Kumar is a goal-oriented person and leads his life with passion. People call him a friend for everyone. He is a sales professional having 10 years of experience. Currently, he is working as area manager at Daikin Air Conditioning India Private Limited. He has been associated with Toastmasters for almost 4 years. Over to Toastmaster Sandeep Kumar for table topic session.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the day. A very good evening again to fellow members and guests. It is very exciting and interesting session of every Toastmasters meeting. Today, it will be very special because I would like to conduct it in a different fashion. Before going through the table topics, I would request each and every member to use word of the day, that is deliberate, which is mentioned in chat box. Now, every speaker has to choose a number from 1 to 9, any 3 numbers in a different manner, like 1, 4, 3, 2, 5, 9. So the first number corresponds to the characters, Second numbers would correspond to would correspond to emotions. Just for example, like someone 000. So first number 0 like voice and expressions, that would be the characters. Then other number would the party, and third the love. So you have to think around these three and just pay the full attention to all the elements of the topics. Just if I would like to deliver a small statement that like once in a while, once there was a fight between voice and expressions, that who is the best. So when they went to a party and performs individually, and they realized everyone is applauding. And when they were asked to perform together, all of them given standing ovations. So this expressed the love between voice and expression. So just like that, I've given the example. So are you ready?
Yes.
Hope you find it. So who will come first?
Can I?
Anant.
Yes. Am I audible?
Yeah, choose. Yes, you are audible. Choose a number from 1 to 9. Like
2,
three numbers.
2 and 1.
2, 2 and 1. So characters is human and nature. Scene plotting is garden. And emotion is happiness. Human nature characters. Scene plotting is garden. Emotions happiness. Over to you, Anand.
The story begins from the Garden of Eden. In the Garden of Eden, along with Adam, Eve, many other creatures created for the first time by the Almighty, there were also these two young brothers, the evil and the good. So good and evil, from that day onwards, they have been having a fight since till this date. And all this fight began over who is accepted more by God's favorite creation, that is humans. So good and evil both are basic human natures, but who is more widespread, more accepted globally? And good thinks that eventually I become victorious, so I am someone who is found everywhere. While evil says, hey, you may think so, but deep down inside, humans know that I am their best friend. I am their constant companion. So from that garden, the fight that erupted eons ago, it goes even till this date. We have seen this fight happening, materializing in the forms of Rama versus Ravana, Krishna versus Kansa, Pandavas versus Kauravas. Eventually, good comes out victorious. But does it every time? The evil leaves its traces behind, and evil survives inside our hearts. You take an example, every Dasahara, we burn the effigies of Ravana outside, but we carry a little traces of Ravana that we consume by the fumes and carry that evil inside us for the rest of the year. We do an effigy burning as a token, but deep down inside, are we truly free of all those evil human natures? I doubt. So moral of the story, ladies and gentlemen, these two brothers are nothing but a core part of ourselves. The one which becomes overpowering over the other, that makes who we are. That becomes our character. So don't look for sages or mantras or medicines or maybe some magic potions that will make us all become victorious and good. We are partly good, partly evil, all the same. It's just a matter of who we choose to be most of the time. That matters. Over to you, Table Topic Master.
Thank you, Anand. You actually delivered the speech deliberately. Next, I would like to call Margarita. Margarita, are you there?
Yes, I'm listening. I'm there. I'm just, okay. I'm here.
So choose three numbers except, choose three numbers except 2 to 1.
Except 2 2, 996.
Hello.
996.
Okay. So the characters are winner and loser. Scene plotting is party, and emotions is sadness. Winner and loser as the characters, scene is party, and emotion is sadness. Over to you, Margarita.
Imagine, yesterday evening, even though we are currently living through one of the biggest lockdowns that we ever had in Switzerland, we had a secret party. Parties are prohibited. We are not allowed to do them. We are especially not allowed to see people, because if we do so, in the equation, there will be winners and losers. There will be those that are strong, tough, and lucky, and they will not get anything out from this party. Yes, because nowadays not getting anything from a party is to win about it. And then there are those who would have lost and probably ended up somewhere in a place of isolation and profound sadness. But having said this, I'm a lot too square to go on with this story without giving you the solution to the riddle. A party can be done as well online. What are very popular are the champagne parties, the fun parties, the Christmas parties, because we had just Christmas here in Europe, or the New Year's parties. And even in those parties, in order to avoid a big moment of sadness, remembering those that maybe now are a bit less fortunate than us, we will make our utmost that we are only winners, no losers. Winners, whatever winning nowadays means. Mr. Table Topics Master.
Thank you, Margarita. It's a wonderful speech. May I call Ma'am Geeta Kashyap? Are you there?
Yeah, I'm there. My numbers, I'll select 337.
3 and
7.
So, okay, your characters are any two strangers, mountains, and fear.
Okay. Thank you so much for that amazing topic. Two strangers, let them be Tom and George. They decided to go mountain climbing together. They went. They were trekking the mountains and they were enjoying it thoroughly. But then after walking for a short distance, they start realizing that it isn't very easy. It isn't easy. Things become more difficult as they start climbing further. So one of them, that is Tom, he was quite used to mountain climbing. So he continued to climb, whereas George, he was hesitant. He wanted to go. He deliberately started making excuses and he wanted to go back. He did not have the courage to continue. There was a strong emotion of fear in his heart. So he said, I want to go back. I do not want to continue further. But Tom encouraged him. Tom encouraged him, telling him that hurdles do come, but it won't be that difficult if you put it in your mind, if you say to yourself that I can do it. So similar is the case in our lives. in our lives also we come across a number of problems, but when we keep telling ourselves that I will not be able to do it, then you will never be able to continue further. In order to continue further in your life, you have to overcome these little hurdles that come in your way, these little obstacles that come in your way. Try to find a way out and continue your journey. And that is going to really help you reach the pinnacle, reach the zenith, the top of the mountain. And once you reach the top, you will really enjoy when you look around the world, the mesmerizing, the beautiful world around you. You will love it. You'll love the sun shining on the mountains. You can enjoy the whole thing, but only thing that we have to remember in our mind is that continue, no matter what happens, no matter what the other difficulties, continue and you will achieve success. When others can do it, I can also do it. Thank you. Over to you, Table Topic Master.
Thank you, ma'am. It was a great speech. Now, may I call Toastmaster Savita, who is playing Grammarian today. Toastmaster Savita, would you like to make an attempt?
Sure.
Choose number.
Okay, so can you tell me the list of numbers?
First number, accept 2, 9, and 3. Second is 2, 9, and 3. And third number is 167.
Okay, so I'll choose 167.
16. So you have to differ from the last number. 7 is gone.
168.
Okay.
160.
So, Savita, the characters are parent and child. Scene plotting is restaurant. And emotion is joy. Parent and child, restaurant, joy. Over to you, Toastmaster Savita.
Okay, so imagine a scene that me, my sister, and my brother is celebrating the 25th anniversary of our parents, and we are having a beautiful moment, and we are having so much fun. And there's one thing that in the recent time, like 1 or 2 days back, we were having a chill conversation and we were watching YouTube, and at that time we saw a vlog in which there was a prank going on. So we, the 3 child, me, my sister, and my brother, we did a prank on our parents, and they were very angry with us. Yeah, that's all.
Thank you. Let me ask timer, how much time is left? Shall I take one more?
Yes, you can take one more.
Thank you, Ruchita. Now let me call.
We have Jessica, who just joined.
Jessica. Yeah, hi, Jessica.
Hello.
Yeah. So we are conducting a table topic sessions, and yes, so you have to choose any number from any 3 numbers. First number correspond to characters. Second would be the scene plotting, and third would be the emotions. Yeah, any 3 numbers.
Oh, any number 3. No.
Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and all that. First number corresponds to characters. Second would be to the scene, and third would be the emotions.
Whoa. Can I just say 1, 2, 3?
Okay, let me give it in. The characters would be husband and wife. Scene would be at shopping mall.
Yeah.
And emotions would be surprise.
Fun. Okay.
So the characters would be husband and wife. Scene plotting would be at shopping mall, and emotions would be surprise. Over to you, Jessica.
What is the most surprising thing that a woman can say to her husband at the shopping mall? Husbands? Sandeep, Ruvidir. The credit card doesn't work. Can you imagine the horror of knowing that you work every day to feed the family, to bring home the bacon, as we say in Canada, and then your credit card doesn't work? And I think that happened to a lot of people, metaphorically, in this past year, because credit card is money. And I just attended a workshop yesterday about the value of money and how it has a place in your life. And we decided that it's about projection thing to you. And so what does it represent to your wife, right? Does it represent food, security, love, perhaps even? And if the man thinks it represents something differently, let me ask those married people, divorced people, what's the #1 reason for divorce in North America? Green, perfect timing. Green represents money, mula, dinero. In our country, let's pretend I'm from America, the money is green. And the most fights happen between couples about money, where to spend it, what to spend it on, because it means what you care about and what you value. And I highly recommend that couples talk about what money means to them before they get married. Because if you think it's security and your wife thinks it's something to treat herself with, or your kids think it's a gift, it's going to be a lot of conflict. So yellow means I'm almost done, just like that credit card. So thank you, Toastmaster.
Thank you, Jessica. Thank you all the speakers who came forward and delivered the speech deliberately. Hope you enjoyed this session very much. Over to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Sandeep, for taking up the session on table topics. What we have to do next? Let me think. I think I should ask for observing 1 minute silence. No, this was table topic. Okay. Oh, let me observe around me. Oh yeah. After seeing these trophies, I remember that we have to conduct speeches. Now moving on to the next session, which is about prepared speeches. Today we have 2 speakers. Our first speaker is Rupinder Singh DTM. Rupinder Singh DTM shall be delivering a speech from which is level 1 project research and presenting from the path motivational strategies. Rupinder Singh DTM is a compulsive connoisseur, a lethargic laggard, a sound sleeper. To those of you who know Rupinder have every right to be surprised that how did Rupinder achieve so much in Toastmasters, to which he cheerfully replies, me too. Father to a handsome son, who he believes has taken after his father, self-confessed wonderful husband. There is a difference of opinion about his humor skills. He thinks he is hilarious. People think he is insufferable. On a serious note, when he is not lazy, eating, or sleeping, Rupinder drives improvement and excellence as a learning and development professional and attends a Toastmasters meeting. Sometimes he wonders how he got so far. Then he looks at his friends and family and realizes just how fortunate he is. Short-term goals of Rupinder Singh is to create a minimum 60-minute course to be deployed on Udemy by March 31st, 2021 and on Go Live by April 2nd, 2020. Ladies and gentlemen, here's our next speaker, Rupinder Singh, DTM, obstructive sleep apnea. Obstructive sleep apnea, Rupinder Singh, DTM.
This is a pulse oximeter. Right now, it is telling me that I have 96% oxygen flowing through my blood, which means 4% carbon dioxide, which is not bad. A healthy human adult needs to have minimum 95% of oxygen running through the blood in their veins. At times, in my case, it goes down to 92, 93. And those are the times when I tell myself that I'm probably not normal and definitely a human. But on a more serious note, this device is perhaps the only thing that stands between you and COVID right now. What it does, it measures the level of oxygen in you. Very useful for people suffering from pneumonia, from COVID, and of course, obstructive sleep apnea. And since you know a lot about pneumonia and about COVID, but very little about obstructive sleep apnea, I wanted to talk to you about obstructive sleep apnea. Mr. Toastmaster of the day, fellow Toastmasters, distinguished guests. It all started with a story. It happened in 2005. My mother suddenly started sleeping a lot more than she used to. Even when she was sitting with guests, she would fall asleep. It was deeply disturbing to people who were sitting around her. And then one day, she fell asleep and she would not wake up despite us asking her to. She was taken to the hospital where they put on this pulse oximeter and they said that she is suffering from obstructive sleep apnea. She will have to be put on a ventilator. Thankfully, only the mask was put. She was not intubated. Her oxygen levels were at 40%. In a normal human being, it is 95%. Hers was at 40%. We probably got her to the hospital at the right time because anything later, it could have been fatal. My mother has continued to enjoy a healthy lifestyle from there onwards. But I thought today would be a good chance to make you familiar with obstructive sleep apnea. It is a condition in which your lungs get weak. To understand that, you have to understand how your lungs function. Basically, your lungs draw in air, which is oxygen, and then they pump out carbon dioxide. That is the basic function of your lungs. Over time, if you're overweight, your lungs will get weak. While they'll be able to pull in air, they will not be able to push out carbon dioxide because carbon dioxide is heavier than air. It requires an effort to be pushed out. In my mother's case, early on, she was also suffering from cervical spondylitis. And the doctor advised her to sleep without a pillow. Now, that relieved her of her neck pain. But what it meant was that as she was sleeping, because of her being overweight, her diaphragm was constantly pushing into her lungs, weakening them from below. And because her lungs were getting weakened, she was drawing in oxygen, she was not able to throw out carbon dioxide. And it came to that day in 2005 where we had to take her to the hospital. So how do you deal with obstructive sleep apnea? Well, 95% of the cases, obstructive sleep apnea is not fatal if you take proper medical care. The first thing that you need to do is breathing exercises. Very important. Second, you need to keep your lungs clean. But the third, you will require medical intervention. And for that, there is this machine, which is called the BiPAP machine. Now, there are two types of machines. One is a CPAP machine. What the CPAP machine does is that it pushes in air. What the BiPAP machine does is that it works in both the directions. It pushes air in and then it sucks air out. And my mother puts that on every night when she goes to sleep, or she puts that on whenever she is sleeping. And this is what has kept her in good health and in good spirits. Recently, our entire family was diagnosed with COVID. We were really worried for my mother because she already has a lung condition. And guess where does COVID attack the most? It attacks the lungs. And because it attacks the lungs, we were worried for her. Thankfully, she came out of it hale and hearty. We're still not out of the woods yet. We are still looking to recover from COVID. Each one of us has different symptoms. But this was about obstructive sleep apnea. To summarize, it is a condition that affects the lungs. Your lungs get weak over time. What, while they are able to draw in oxygen, they are not able to drive out carbon dioxide. In order to drive out carbon dioxide, you need either a CPAP machine or a BiPAP machine, depending on the severity of obstructive sleep apnea that you have. Also, the level of oxygen that you need to maintain in your bloodstream is above 95% for a healthy person. For my mother, it is between 85 to 95%. That was it about obstructive sleep apnea. But before I close, here is a advice for you. Buy this. Buy a pulse oximeter. It costs about 2,000 rupees, but it could define the difference between life and death. Because if your oxygen levels are going below 95, something is wrong with you and you need to see a doctor. By the way, my levels right now, 98% oxygen. By grace of God, I am doing quite well. Thank you very much for being such a patient audience. Back to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you, Rupinder Singh, DTM. Now we shall observe silence for 1 minute. Timer, please show me red card on completion of 1 minute. Thank you, timer. Moving on, we have our next speaker in Shipriya Gauri, DTM. Today, Shipriya Gauri, DTM, is going to deliver a speech from level 3 project focus on positives from the path engaging. Shipriya is a talent and change consultant by profession and a Toastmaster by passion. She loves to travel and explore different countries and experiencing their cultures. She is eagerly waiting for COVID to end so that she can get back to her journey of exploration through traveling. She loves when traveling and Toastmasters integrate and tries to attend a meeting wherever she travels. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Shipriya Gauri, DTM, DAM. Shipriya Gori DTM Dam.
Lesson number 1. Humor equals to tragedy plus timing. Okay, humor equals to tragedy plus timing. What are the most tragic events of my life? Is it when I failed my 9th standard? Too embarrassing. Is it when I failed one paper of math in economics? Too general. Is it because of my heartbreak? Shit, my crush is in the meeting room. Or is it when I actually stood still in front of an entire world? Probably. Ladies and gentlemen, this was when I started to write my speech for humor speech contest at District 91. It was a very, very, very tough job. Not just because I was trying to experiment my humorous skills in a completely different environment, in a completely new culture, but because I'm not good at humor. I try to attend each and every workshop attended by set by different trainers across the world. Everybody tried to give so many guidance and so many tips and tricks on how to make an effective humorous speech. Talk about funny punches. Talk about your expressions. Talk about your biggest embarrassing stories. And that started helping me to write down the most effective, not a humorous speech. As I was dwelling deeper into my past secrets, humor did not come. Probably I was reminded of the things I was trying too hard to forget. Remember the first crush you had when you were a child and how you did not end up with that crush because probably the crush did not accept you for who you are, or it's also because you grew out of it. It is also not just about the embarrassing moments, but also its consequences. And I was reminded of when I was trying to write my story. 3 days later, I found the most embarrassing thing happened recently while I was writing a story. As I was trying to figure it out that how much should I put in the speech, I relived that embarrassing moment 1,000 times. Instead of finding a humor or finding a funny ending, I was hurt 1,000 times. So whoever told me that humor equals to tragedy plus timing definitely did not understand how people could perceive or relive tragedy. Well, the person isn't completely wrong because we all are a little bit of sadists. We enjoy when someone else goes through a very bad time because somewhere it makes us feel we are not the only one. But the best part about it is when you try to find out a different angle to a tragedy, it will definitely bring a smile in your face. So as I was trying to find out, okay, this tragic or the embarrassing moment, for a second, I actually enjoyed it when I rewrote the 1,000th time. After revisiting it for millions of time in terms of funny, for a second, I was the one who laughed at it. So it gave me the greatest lesson any Toastmasters meeting could give. It's all about how you look at things. So what if a person has rejected you? Make a humorous speech. So what if my enunciations are really poor? Make a joke out of it. So what if I had failed in mathematics for 10 years in a row? No, get yourself a tutor. That's not going to help you pass. But at the end of the day, what the training or what my preparation helped me is to look at every event of my life and get a giggle for myself. I have a coach who works with me, and my coach insisted that no matter what, the tragedy has to be yours. No matter what, the tragedy has to be true. And no matter what, the tragedy actually have to be honest. And as I went inside or dwelled deeper into each and every tragic events, I found different rays of humor in the same. And finally, after rewriting, the tragedy or depression moved into a little more life. And that was the positive outcome I found when I tried to write my humorous speeches. After the contest speech, which helped me to go to a different level, I found a way to make peace with everything that has happened wrong in my life. It's not just the life was wrong, I was also not the best. If you had known me for a while, you know I do have a habit of messing things around. But it's okay, because as I messed things around, I got content for the next humorous speech. So if I have to look at my positives, there's just only one. Try writing a speech about it. If not, at least it will help you to compete at the district championships. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you, Shipriya Gori DTM. Now we shall observe silence for 1 minute for the members in the audience to write their comments. Timer, please show me red card on completion of 1 minute. Thank you, timer. Moving on to the next session, which is a unique feature of our club. It's a power talk. Today's power talk shall be delivered by Sindhuja Nanduri DTM. A brief introduction. Sindhuja Nanduri DTM is a violinist and singer by training, an engineer by education, a consultant by profession, a yoga enthusiast, and a Toastmaster at heart. She is a professional violinist and has performed publicly over the last several years. She also has a mechanical engineering degree from BITS Pilani with a penchant for mathematics. Sindhuja joined Genome as a consultant in July 2018 and has been part of the Genome Toastmasters Club since September 2018, where she served as the president, VP Education, and secretary. In this limited time, she has excelled at multiple club roles. She was the past area 03 director, and her area was recognized as the select distinguished area. She recently became a member of Spoken Word Toastmasters Club. In the current pandemic time, she accomplished the feat of attending Toastmasters meeting in all the countries where Toastmasters is there. That is 127 countries in 127 days. Wow. This achievement has been recognized by the immediate past international president, Deepak Menon DTM, and other global leaders recently in the Toastmasters International Convention Board of Directors briefing. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome our power talk speaker, Sindhuja Nanduri DTM 143. 143, Sindhuja Nanduri DTM.
Thank you so much, Mr. Toastmaster. Let me start with a question. What comes to your mind when I say 1, 4, 3.
I love you.
That's amazing. That's an amazing welcome as well. Thank you so much, distinguished Toastmaster Mukesh.
I hate you.
No. I love you. What was this entire project about? And how does 143 come into the picture? Is what you will understand towards the end of this 10 minutes. The project was about traveling to different countries, attending a Toastmasters meeting in each country where our global organization of Toastmasters International is present. COVID had come and it made lives miserable of people around the world. Well, I was one of them. But one different thing about me is that I take up big projects, grand gestures, just to make sure I'm always up at my confidence level. And Project 143 came to my rescue then. It was in the month of March 2020 when everyone were almost vexed with their lives because the lockdown had just started. People were trying to cope up with the new normal and they were taking up different hobbies. Well, my go-to hobbies are two. One is I pick up my violin, I play some movie song, or I play something, I compose some song which suits my mind. And two, attend Toastmasters meetings. I thought, why not sit at home and complete my Distinguished Toastmaster project? Because I've been postponing my Distinguished Toastmaster project for a long time. That is 2 years. When I joined Toastmasters in September 2018, I made up my mind that whatever I'm going to do for my Distinguished Toastmaster project should be a grand gesture. Not something I would remember for 1 day or 2 days, but something I would think about and smile whenever that thought came to my mind. So how did this entire thought process start and when did it start? It was one rainy evening in Bangalore when I was on a call with my mentor. And I was reconfirming with him if Toastmasters is truly present in 143 countries worldwide. When he said yes, there was something going on in my mind, I think which he also suspected. I asked him if all the clubs around the world are meeting online. If they were accessible with a tap of a button, why not attend all of them? And that was the day I decided I am going to accomplish this feat. I researched my way through being a management consultant, filled up several Excel sheets with the number of countries where Toastmasters is actually present, started digging up the rows and rows of club names and their meetings available online and started my journey. Why did I decide to do that? The third question. As my previous speaker, Distinguished Toastmaster Shiv Priya said, it is all about how you look at things, perspective. When everyone around the world was struggling with coping up with the new normal of the lockdown, I decided to make an opportunity out of this adversity. Also, the previous term, I was serving as an area director. One thing I learned from serving as an area director, that is a voluntary role in a not-for-profit organization, is that there is no definition, there are no clear guidelines for the role of area director. It just says that you are a liaison between the world headquarters and the clubs. Nowhere does it say that you are supposed to organize area contests. Nowhere does it say that you are supposed to bring your clubs to a distinguished level. And nowhere does it say how you are supposed to do that. When you're working in a voluntary role, there is an imbalance of giving and taking back from the organization. As much as I gave to my 4 clubs when I was the area director, I knew I was not taking it back. And this Distinguished Toastmaster project was my way of taking something back from the global organization. Now, how do I go into detail about this project? Let me start with the country that I started first. It is one of the countries in the Middle East, which is Bahrain. And it was one of the best meetings that I attended. Why do I say so? One reason, because the name of the club itself is Bahrain Elite Speakers Toastmasters, BEST. They themselves call themselves that they are the best. That's exactly why I call that as one of the best Toastmasters meetings I've ever attended. One thing which I realized in that Toastmasters meetings was that how bad was I at table topic speeches. When a table topic speech was given to me, and trust me, it was about pajamas. I could not speak for even 1 minute. Can you imagine being with Toastmasters for more than 1.5 years and not being able to speak for 1 minute in an international club, and that too my first international club meeting? In that meeting, I decided that no matter which country I will attend, I will first break my fear of volunteering for the table topic session. That I will detail out in a little bit. The journey started on April 17, 2020, and it was going on and on. I would make schedules 2 weeks in advance, contact clubs, random clubs according to my schedule, and schedule meetings, attend them, get to know people, meet new people, make great friends who would last me a lifetime, and participate in all table topic sessions. Why did I schedule the meetings 2 weeks in advance? Well, because I'm a management consultant, and management consultants tend to work a little more than what they are paid for. I had to schedule meetings for countries in an ad hoc manner. First, what I did was I divided the entire world into regions. The first region I wanted to completely pursue was the Americas region. Then I moved on to the Europe and Middle East, and then Africa, and finally came to Asia. While I was following this methodology, there was one obstacle in that. There are two key women who played major role in amping up my project and pacing me up with respect to covering the number of countries. There was one country which I attended, I believe it was Hungary. And there was this one lady, I clearly remember her name. It was Toastmaster Beatrice. She had attended 32 meetings, 32 countries in 16 days. I was only at 11 countries. Remember my state. Imagine my state. It was then that I decided to amp up. Initially, I was attending one country at on one single day. Then I increased my pace to 2 or 3 countries per single day. Then came the second lady, the second woman who played a key role. Her name is, I think you all know this woman, Distinguished Toastmaster Gauri Seshadri. When I called her to speak to her about the countries in China, Japan, Philippines, etc., she scared me by saying that all these countries were going back to physical meetings. Imagine me being from India, not being able to cover any of the Asian countries. What an embarrassment would that have been? These two people really helped me amp up and pace up my project and get it done in such a poetic way that I covered 127 countries in 127 days. Sure, there was so much self-doubt, there was so much anxiety which went into planning, which went into keeping up the motivation and waking up at 3:30 a.m. in the morning to cover the Caribbean countries. But yet, the Toastmaster spirit, the enthusiasm of every single person when I told them that I'm pursuing this project, it kept my motivation going. So what did I learn and gain out of all these countries and attending all these meetings? One, I'm able to deliver a 10-minute speech without preparing at all, based on my sole experience in front of a professional club, thanks to all the 127 countries that I attended and the meetings that I took up. Second thing, when you attend meetings, when you meet people from different cultures, different backgrounds, and different languages, there is a whole lot of cultural exchange which gets involved. Even if you attend meetings from South India to North India, or I'm sitting here in Hyderabad and I'm attending a meeting in Kolkata, there is a whole lot of cultural exchange which is involved. And that is clearly evident. This cultural exchange leads to the development of one big and huge thing inside us, which is empathy. The empathy for the person next to you or the person you're speaking to increases 100-fold or even 1,000-fold. What did I give back? Well, there was an interesting call which I received on one Monday evening from the then International President, Distinguished Toastmaster Deepak Menon. Someone had told him about this project which I'm pursuing, and he called me to congratulate me personally. He spoke to me for a whole of 40 minutes and asked me 2 things which I can tell him that our organization should improve. The first thing which I told him was there were a lot of countries where they just conduct meetings in their native language. There is one country with the club Zagreb, and they conduct the meetings in their own language, and that was one reason why I couldn't attend that country's meeting. There is only one club in that country. So I suggested Toastmasters International encourage those countries to start at least one bilingual club, the second language being English. The second point which I gave back, which I suggested Toastmasters International to do, was there were a lot of countries where people didn't know that something called online meetings even existed. Imagine the amount of PR that our organization is doing, and still these countries do not know. Probably that thing was something to work upon. On the whole, after speaking to people like Distinguished Toastmaster Deepak Menon and the current International President-elect, Distinguished Toastmaster Margaret Page, I have learned so many things from this Project 143. For me, 143 means I love TMI, Toastmasters International. So many things which I learned, so many things which I understood. If you want to know more about my project, you can refer to this month's article in the Toastmasters International magazine. The new year started for me with a surprise from Toastmasters International, where they called me and they asked me to write about my experience about visiting all these 143 countries. It was my initial idea to reach out to them saying that, hey, I've done this. Can you please feature me there? But I didn't expect someone from the editorial section of Toastmasters International magazine contacting me and asking me to write about my experience. This is the link here. If you want to know more about all the countries that I travel to, here is the link you can find. You tap on the country, you get the club's name I attended over there, and you even get the date where I attended that. That's all from me for now. Thank you so much for being for such a wonderful audience. I can take any questions offline. Back to the Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Nanduri DTM, for this wonderful talk whereby we came to know about your experience of traveling 127 countries. Moving on to the next session, which is about evaluations. This session shall be conducted by Mukesh Thakur DTM. A few words about him. He comes from a community that is lazy in speaking, chartered accountants. He believes that no one should be lazy in communication and derives his passion for Toastmasters from this belief. In 2009, he authored Guide to Financial Instruments published by Taxman Publications. He enjoys watching movies, traveling to new places, and playing chess. He indulges in many adventures, including but not limited to coming to the stage frequently. A Toastmaster for more than 5 years, he is on his way to becoming a voracious reader, writer, and speaker. We already know about his short-term goals. Now let's welcome Mukesh Thakur, DTM, for as the role of General Evaluator. Over to Mukesh Thakur.
Thank you very much, distinguished Toastmaster Raj Mehta. So, can we have a huge round of applause for all the speakers and the role players who have performed till now to make our Sunday event better? Now it's time for us to come in the role and give feedback. So it will not be only a general evaluator or the specific evaluator. It is the role of our entire team, entire audience who will be providing feedback to the entire meeting and the speakers. So as an audience, you may be asked for your feedback when I invite one of the speakers on the virtual stage. So be ready with your all of the notings. I would just consider, I would just want you to consider that if one point has already been mentioned by the previous speaker, just try to avoid them. And if you don't have anything to add, just pass, you can pass them to, so that the speaker can utilize most out of the given time. Going first, I would like to invite our professional speaker, distinguished Toastmaster Devina Chaturvedi.
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator. I'd like to seek feedback, specifically recommendations, starting from Toastmaster Sandeep.
Devina, I really like the concept and title, and your speech was very informative. And I really like the role play also. As far as recommendations are concerned, I think there were too much slides. And considering the time given by each slide, some were too short and some were too long. And second, the second role play, I think time utilization is quite long, so that could be done in a very effective manner.
Thank you. Could I now hear from our General Evaluator, Mukesh?
Thank you very much, Devina. So the entire concept was intriguing to me. It was very much relevant and practical, and it actually made me to listen whatever you are saying and to observe the things around me. I think if you can work on this particular project, you can make your this session a mesmerizing experience for the entire audience. And for that, I have a few recommendations. Those are very small as of now. First is you were speaking very naturally. So I thought that sometimes it is too natural. For example, whenever you are talking, you are making the sound of like you are conversing with someone. So you were doing this more often. Then there were so many lessons, and I could not summarize if you had given all the lessons a number, or had you summed it up at the ending, it would have been great. The third was to make it more professional. Try first to build the context and then bring the slide as a surprise. It will mesmerize the audience. And the fourth has already been covered by Sandeep to reduce the number of slides.
Thank you. Could I now hear from Roly?
Sure, Devina. I actually really love the slides because they just had a picture and a title, and the rest of it you were talking to the slides. So I really liked that. I liked your content as well. I felt that there were tweaks that you can do in the structure. When you repeated the slide for not magic, I felt that the end is quite near for your speech, but it came a little later than my expectation. So perhaps when something is repeated in a speech and it's repeated just for the second time, one's expectation is that it's the beginning and the end. It's not like kind of the middle. The other part is that the exercise that you had about asking us to guess and observe in the picture and try to come up with our own observations was actually a very effective exercise. I felt that you could have spent a little more time on that and involved more members of the audience and reduce time elsewhere. Maybe split this speech into two. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Rohili. Where's the timer? Okay, could I now hear from Distinguished Toastmaster Shivpriya, please?
Hi, Madam Distinguished Toastmaster Speaker, Professional Speaker for the day. What I really loved about the topic is definitely your idea. I think it was very unique. And experimenting, playing with people's observation skills. And it was basically a reality check. And then you try to give us the entire lesson, so which is something which is very, very effective. My two recommendations for you are, number one, please do not address your fellow Toastmasters as sir, even though if you know them. I have noticed that you do that, and it's just can be changed. And number two, somewhere I felt that there was either it was too long or there was a little bit of lack of preparation where you fumbled, especially during transitions. So I think that could have been a little more effective. So maybe there's a presentation which you can keep. Apart from that, keep a little bit of post-its or a kind of structure so that you don't have to fumble. You exactly know what is your next point. So even if it is an 18-minute speech, you don't lose the entire flow or the transition. So that's my sincere request. So thank you.
Thank you, Shiva. Could I hear from Margarita as well?
Okay. So first of all, thank you very much for the speech. I think that the content of the speech was very interesting, and you have mastered bringing the slides into synchronization or into the tone with your speech. Personally, I don't remember who said it, but anyhow, if you would have focused only on 3 key points, the speech would have been a lot more powerful. You were at times, because of that, for me, a little bit all over the place, and I struggled with focusing on what is your message. So my advice is try really to narrow down the topic and the message you want to give, and maybe reinforce that, because then it would be all the more impactful.
Thank you so much. Thank you everyone for being so kind. Thank you, Ruchira. I think my time is up. I would have loved to summarize otherwise. Thank you. Back to you, Mr. General Evaluator.
Thank you very much, all the evaluators. Now, next is our first prepared speaker, Distinguished Toastmaster Rupinder Singh. He is feeling not so well, so he has asked me to take his evaluation on his behalf. So I will be taking evaluations for Rupinder. And for that, I would like to call evaluation from Jessica first.
I don't have, I don't know, I didn't do the evaluation so much. Do you want me to just read what I sent to you?
Whatever your feedback, your one recommendation quickly.
To be honest, I don't have anything to add. I only have something specific for the last 2 speeches.
No problem. Thank you very much. So can I hear from Sindhuri?
It's Sindhuja Nanduri. It's not Sindhuri, it's Sindhuja Nanduri, Mr. General Evaluator.
Sorry, my bad.
Sure, that's not an issue. Thank you so much, Mr. General Evaluator. I believe Rupinder's speech was very emotional in that it hit right at our hearts. There was a story involved, and since it was his own personal experience, he was speaking right from this heart, and we could all feel it being in the meeting room. One feedback which I have for Rupinder's speech is that I believe I didn't have a clear takeaway from his entire speech. Probably if he would have summarized in 1 or 2 lines a few things which he learned from undergoing all that distress when his mother was suffering from sleep apnea, and when his entire family went through COVID and they are in the process of recovery. I believe that would have been a good takeaway for me from his speech. That's all from my end. Back to you.
Thank you very much. Can I have Shipriya's feedback?
Thank you so much, Mr. Gentle Evaluator. What I liked about Rupi's speech is definitely I felt that the structure was really, really good. He set the context, he tried to explain, then he also tried to end with what happened. My sincere request is like somewhere I felt that it was becoming too technical for a layman to understand. Somewhere I felt that some of the choice of words I do understand it's a medical term, so he cannot easily replace them. But for somebody who may not have undergone a COVID treatment, it could have been slightly difficult to understand how difficult, how crazy it is or how scary it is. So maybe if he explained it in detail, that would have been better. So a little bit of detailing out when there are some medical terms involved so that everyone can connect to it and understand.
Thank you very much. Rolly, you have something to say?
Sure. The structure, in my opinion, was going fine, except that he had 3 instances when he said to summarize, to conclude, before I conclude, and he took still longer than that to conclude. So in my opinion, the structure was a little off because of that. And there was a call to action in terms of buying the oximeter or the pulsometer, but there was no reason given for me to buy it. I mean, it's a different matter that I have it, but I have my own reasons for the general audience to purchase that device and how it will help them, what difference can it make to their lives, might be a good message. Like, what prevention can we do? So,
Thank you.
thank you.
Can you hear from Margarita? Margarita, you are mute.
I apologize. I beg a little bit to differ with what I have heard until now. I really liked very much about his speech that, for me at least, there was a very simple takeaway. And the simple takeaway is I should buy myself an oxygen meter because it can save my life. And I loved it. And I loved it how he supported his message with the prop. He handled the prop wonderfully. It's something that we rarely see on Zoom meetings because people are not able or struggle with holding the prop within the frame. And we saw it always. With regards to the terminology, I think that he brought home a very simple story, a moving story, a touching story, something that really affected him deeply, but at the same time, it was a simple story. And from my perspective, because I hear so much about COVID since 9 months, I was very happy that he didn't go to explain too much all the details because I'm bombarded with it. And I loved so much about his story that he personalized it, bridged the problem statement to another issue that happened to be in his family and combined it in a wonderful way. So I liked his speech enormously. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, all the audience and the evaluators, for giving your wonderful feedback. Thank you, Jessica, for sending your chat. I hope I will convey this to Ruminder. Now, calling straightforward our next speaker, distinguished person, Shipriya.
Thank you very much, DTM Mukesh Thakur. First and foremost, apologizing for logging in through phone. Ideally, a speech should be given in a laptop and it wasn't connecting to internet. That gives me my first thing that I should always check my devices. Now, I would request or solicit feedback, particularly recommendations from 4 specific people in the room. First and foremost, I would request DTM or Distinguished Toastmaster Devina to share her feedback.
Hi. Specifically recommendations, I have very few. I did notice a few grammatical errors, which is very unlikely on your part. So that was a little surprising for me. I'm sure the grammarian will give you a detailed report. So that was one. I have a lot of commendations to give, if I may give one at least, and that is that I love the flow of your speech and the way you narrated it did engage me throughout this speech, especially because of the fact that you kept your pace in check, something that we tend to miss out on, at least the two of us. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mentor. May I request Roly to kindly share her feedback?
Sure. I found your speech very entertaining. It made me laugh out loud in places. I think that the only part that I would have liked you to improve is that initially, in the first few sentences or so, your voice did not reflect the emotions behind the words. So you were saying it was making me smile, but I would have just liked the exaggeration in the emotion. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Madam Roly. Thank you so much, Jessica, for your feedback on the chat. May I request Toastmaster Margarita to share her feedback, specifically recommendations?
Thank you for calling me up. First of all, it was a wonderful speech. As a recommendation, and this I would put as a challenge on your plate, try to tell the same story as a tall tale. Completely going out of anything that is sane, exaggerate completely, because I do think that if you would do it once, you would find a better balance as to how to underpin your humor, because you have a lot of humor and you make people laugh, but to underpin it also with here and there a really good and pointed gesture. And because you don't do it right now, I would suggest go the other extreme, try it once out, and then try to settle for what will be your style.
That's definitely interesting. Thank you, Toastmaster Margarita. May I request the Power Talk speaker for the day, Distinguished Toastmaster Sindhuja, to kindly share recommendations for the speech?
Sure, Distinguished Toastmaster Shivpriya. The first thing I liked about your speech was the title. It was not like any other title. It was a damn with that sound echoing in my ears. The feedback which I have for you with the title is that I didn't get to hear that word throughout your speech. That was only once said when the Toastmaster of the day introduced you as a speaker, but I wished to have heard the word throughout your speech, probably once or twice when you had these realizations. The second one is that I was focusing a little too much on numbers, and I noticed that there were a little too many ups and downs in your speech when you were saying 100 times over or 1,000 times over, and the next time you would quote the same thing, it would be 1,000,000 times over. So for a person who's a little too much focused on numbers, this can be a little hazy. The third thing is that your speech was very different when compared to any other humorous speeches, probably because the objective of the speech was focused on the positives. I believe that you did that very well, and you were telling us how you coped through all those instances where you were reliving the pain and the hurt which you have experienced. The one thing which I wanted from the entire speech the 2 or 3 points, 3 major realizations you had when you were reliving all those instances. That would have been a little clearer for me. Thank you so much. Back to you.
Thank you so much, Madam Power Talk speaker. To summarize, and I'm also going to take a little bit from the offline feedback. First and foremost, a grammatical error. That's true. That is not supposed to be done, and I will be absolutely mindful and try to find the root cause of the same. Number two, the volume or my voice modulation has to be intact with the emotion which I'm trying to exhibit. I will also keep a check on it. I would like to revisit my emotions and see where I went wrong. Number three, I really like the fact that the speech title was not used very well. So I am going to do that. I do plan to give the speech once again, because I did get a lot of recommendations which I would like to incorporate. Number four, the numbers were hazy and probably they were not making sense. 100 versus a million. And also I have got some really interesting feedback in terms of structuring my speech in a different way so that I could give an introduction or I could set the context, and then there are key takeaways which I could do. So that is also there. And of course, the video has to be set in a way that they see more of me and my hand gestures versus just the ceiling. Putting all this thing together and converting into probably a tall tale, I would like to deliver the speech once again in a different format altogether. Thank you everyone for your lovely feedback, and I hand over the stage back to the general evaluator for the day.
Thank you very much. Can we have once again a huge round of applause for all the evaluators? Now, as I notice we are going a bit of overtime, I will quickly invite our supplementary role players to give their reports. And for this, I would like to invite our timer, Ruchita, for giving her report.
Hi, everyone. I will share the timing report with you for today. Just give me a second. Okay, so we start with our Toastmaster of the day, Mr. Raj Mehta. The total time he took till now is 14 minutes and 30 seconds. With our prepared speeches, so Devina took 23 minutes and 56 seconds. Rupinder took 7 minutes and 18 seconds. Shivpriya took 6 minutes and 23 seconds. Sindhuja took 13 minutes and 51 seconds. Our table topics, so Anand took 2 minutes and 38 seconds. Margarita took 2 minutes and 4 seconds. Geeta took 2 minutes and 11 seconds. Savita 1 minute, and Jessica for 1 minute and 59 seconds. All our evaluations till now were within time. Yeah, so that's it, my report of the timing today. I think we all did within time as per our prepared speeches, except the one which was for 23 minutes and 56 seconds. Thank you.
Thank you very much, timer Toastmaster Rojita Malik. And we have a huge round of applause for her.
Thank you.
I would like to call our grammarian of the day, Savita. Savita, can we have your report?
Sure. First of all, the word of the day, deliberate, was used one time in the whole meeting. So I request everyone to practice it daily so that you can add it to your vocabulary. Also, first of all, I'll start with some good usages of grammar in this sentence. For example, the one was read between the lines. It simply means looking or discovering a meaning that is implied rather than explicitly stated. The second one is dwelling on embarrassing moment. It simply means remembering or relived that whole moment. There was a wrong usage of grammar. It was I show the card. It was used as I show the card, but it is actually I'll show the card. Also, there were some good pronunciations. For example, moment, quiet, and because. There were some good words which were used. For example, proclaim, emulate, mussen, peculiar, effigy, pinnacle, zenith, lethargic, sleep apnea, annunciation, emulate, solicited, and exaggerate. If you all want, I can share the whole detailing of the whole meaning of this whole grammatical words. Till then, thank you.
Thank you very much, Savita, for taking up this role. Now, can I ask our ask counter of the day, Toastmaster role is in now.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator. I'd like to compliment the President and General Evaluator, Distinguished Toastmaster Mukesh Thakur. He had one fumble or repetition during his presidential address, and then another one when he said, I would just ask you to consider. And apart from that, there were I could not note any filler sounds or crutch words or phrases and short pauses. I didn't feel that there was a very judicious use of pauses to be noted somewhere, but I love the fact that the speech was easy to understand and very easy to follow. I think that if he adds pauses, it would be remarkable in regular speeches and not just prepared speeches. Uh, Toastmaster of the day, distinguished Toastmaster Raj Mehta, had a few fumbles and he had a few filler sounds. Initially, he was going very well, but he started to have more filler sounds later. I think he could try to see why that was happening and correct that. The favorite words are my dear, and when he's referring to probably his audience, and the word and now. And he took 4 short pauses. The grammarian had one sound and one crutch word that she uses is so. I think she was otherwise flawless as far as the R counter is concerned. Congratulations to her. The professional speaker for the day, distinguished Toastmaster Devina Chaturvedi, had quite a few fumbles. Probably I can send the report separately. This is also noted in one of her evaluations that there's a sound that she was making. I don't think that it is a reason the reason is being too casual. I think that the mic is placed too close to the mouth. So whenever she is pausing and then opening her mouth again, that sound is coming. She'd probably do a little bit of testing before delivering her speeches. Her crutch word is and then. It's not even like and then. It's just the 2 words together. And I have a suggestion for her. I think she was speaking very fast at a lot of times. And because of that, there's a strain breath, because of which I feel I had us noted here. Then the table topic speaker, Anand, was fantastic. I loved the use of pauses in his table topic. The only crutch word that he needs to get rid of is so. Toastmaster Geeta had just one short pause during her table topic speech. Otherwise, I did not find any fumbles or filler sounds during her table topic speech. Table topic speaker Savita uh, had a few and the crutch words are okay, so, and that. Table topic speaker Jessica can remove again that tuck sound. Probably again, it's the mic is too close, or maybe that's a sound that she's in the habit of making. And the words and so are her crutch words. As the speaker, distinguished Toastmaster Rupinder, had now and so and well as the crutch words. As speaker, distinguished Toastmaster Shivpriya had a few fumbles when she was repeating some of the phrases before finally completing the phrase. The sound I heard just once, and I wasn't really sure whether it was a filler sound or she was just taking a little breath between her not so normal, regular pace of speech. The crutch words that she can concentrate on getting rid of are but and so. The Power Talk speaker, Sindhuja, can concentrate on well, so, and now. And there were a few repetitions like off and from and here. I would like to compliment the table topic speaker and evaluator, Toastmaster Margarita. She was flawless throughout. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Can we have a huge round of applause for all the supplementary role players? Now it's time for me to give my opinion on the entire meeting, and I will I will try to take it quickly. So starting with the opening of the meeting, I am not sure how the meeting started because it was me who was culprit for starting the meeting. I am not sure how the presidential address went. I will start directly from the Toastmaster of the day. So I found opening of the Toastmaster, they explaining the theme was very attractive. He started with having conversation with the audience, and the examples he has given was very practical and relevant, relating to his own life. So it was a great way to start a meeting to attract the entire audience to what we are going to do. So thank you very much, Toastmaster of the day. A few things I would like you to consider that I have noted, and it is my only observation, is while explaining the structure of the meeting, I felt that you could be more professional. I can see the tall image that you have in Toastmaster. I would like to listen the language and sentences that were more professional rather than just simple explaining. Not that I did anything wrong, it was perfect, but I would like you to conduct it more professionally. The second thing, word of the day, explanation was good. The word of the day was great. It was simple and daily use word. The only recommendation for the grammarian was to use visuals if possible. You can use slides. Otherwise, it may not get too much noticed by the members. So you can see the results. Only one use of the word of the day. The next thing about the Toastmaster of the day is only you could have avoided explaining the role descriptions. Because it is too normal or traditional for the professional speaker that we now avoid getting the role description and in the beginning to avoid time, to save our time, because we are advanced Toastmasters and we know how the things goes. Otherwise, in the entire meeting, I could find only the Toastmaster of the day who was very enthusiastic and interesting and bringing energy during the breaks. So can we have a huge round of applause for his energy and enthusiasm to conduct the entire meeting very professionally. And coming to the table topics section, was very creative and it was appearing since he joined the meeting. He was smiling because he had a very interesting table topics in mind. It was creative and it gave all the table topics speakers a leverage to think and give the feedback and also expand their thinking horizons. So great work in terms of table topics, Toastmaster Sandeep. The only suggestion for you is just don't make it too complicated, because if someone misses the opening briefing, then people will get confused about the three numbers. So just that, or keep it explaining, or keep it somewhere displayed. Otherwise, it was a great and interesting table topic section. All the table topics speaker, Anant, Geeta, Savita, Jessica, and Margarita did a fair job given the level of the difficulty in the table topic speaker. So can we have a huge round of applause for all the table topic speakers also? Now coming to the speeches, all the speeches were uh, uplifting. I felt uplifted from the content of all the three speeches. Professional speech by distinguished Toastmaster Devinath Chaturvedi about the observations and the idea of having an oximeter and why it is necessary by distinguished Toastmaster Rupinder Singh, and the explanation given by distinguished Toastmaster Shipriya committee is timing plus tragedy plus timing. So thank you very much. I think there is no recommendation in the entire speech section. Power talk was very much powerful. I can imagine how much it would be have motivated the rest of the members, how we can leverage from the opportunity that is surrounding us, and those kinds of projects gives us motivation that we can also do something. We can get we can assess what are the opportunities about what opportunities are available to us and how we can leverage. Thank you very much, Power Talk speaker Sindhuja Nanduri. Sorry for mispronouncing your name once, and thank you very much for joining us today. Coming to our supplementary role players. Before supplementary role players, I would like to comment on the evaluation sections. All the evaluations was very constructive, starting from all the feedbacks given in Devinath Chaturvedi's distinguished Toastmaster Devinath Chaturvedi's evaluation section. I thought all the evaluations that were provided were not really repetitive and constructive. The evaluation section for Rupinder was also great. There was some contradictions in the feedback, but I think it is good to have the contradictions so that people can assess the audience and their particular needs. So otherwise it was good. Shipriya, same, all the constructive use of the timing. Only recommendation for you, Shipriya, is the utilization of the timing. Once you see that red card is already up, so you can take the summarization offline. After showing of the red card, if you are going for explanation, it takes 1 minute and 23 seconds extra, so we can avoid those. Otherwise, great evaluation sections once again. Coming back to the supplementary role players, timer Ruchita as well as Savita. Thank you very much, first of all, for coming to professional speakers and taking up the role. It was a great contribution, and having you not being the members of a professional speaker, still your feedback was matching to our members. So thank you very much for your crisp and great report. Grammarian Savita, it was great to listen the analysis as well as explanations for what you observed from the language and words from all the speakers. So great analytical minds. Thank you. Coming to our counter, very detailed and analytical report. It is really inspiring how much you observe. I think you apply all the lessons that Devinath Chaturvedi has told to you. So very much inspiring, so much of observative. Thank you very much. Overall, I enjoyed the entire meeting. It was very uplifting and professional for me. It was an energy booster for me. Going forward, being a professional speaker, advanced club, we need to come out of our comfort zone, get out of our comfort zone. For me, the best ideal meeting would have been had all the members here. We would have 20 more guests and all 12 plus 20, that is 32 videos on, and there is no break. and everyone is smiling, everyone is applauding. I also felt that there was a lack of applause throughout the meeting, so maybe we can cover it up here. Can we have a huge energy at this moment of time? With that expectation, I close my remarks as a general evaluator, and I'm looking forward for great professional meeting in the 127th meeting. Now, I am handing over the stage to President, which is distinguished Toastmaster Mukesh Thakur. So, how was the meeting? So everyone
Awesome.
is, and now it's the time to make some noise. We can all unmute ourselves because it is our time.
Mukesh, you can take feedback from the guests first.
Yeah. So I would like to hear from guests now, starting from our grammarian of the day, Savita. Your feedback about our meeting.
Okay, it was a lovely meeting, and I really enjoyed the role of a grammarian as well as table topic. And thank you so much for having me. It was a wonderful time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Can I hear from Geeta?
Hi, thank you so much. It was really amazing. I enjoyed every minute of it, especially the professional speakers. I love to hear them. A lot of takeaway from here. It was amazing. I really enjoyed it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Can I hear from Jessica?
Yes, I'm surprised that half the people are guests. So it's nice in so many DTMs. I felt a lot of the cameras were off most of the time, and it felt a little bit cold that way, but the personalities were very warm regardless.
Thank you very much. Can I hear from Margarita?
So first and foremost, thank you very much for having me. A belated huge applause to everybody I did not applaud today, so I apologize for that. I liked the flow of the meeting very much. I definitely learned today a lot from the Toastmaster of the day, because he guides through the meeting, or Raj guided to the meeting in a different way than what we are used to, at least where I'm sitting. And I'm a member in 2 clubs in Switzerland and 1 in Italy. And even though now going to India, it's completely different again. And there is a lot of learning that I could do today. So for that, a huge thank you. And I really encourage everybody to take the opportunity of these sad times to visit clubs elsewhere, just to get ideas. I liked, for instance, very much the idea of the table topics. I will try it out in one of my clubs as well. So you can really copy, reuse, adapt, and update whichever idea you pick up. So thank you very much for having me. It was really a wonderful meeting. Thank you.
Thank you very much, all the guests. Thank you for joining with our meeting. I would like you to come for our next meeting also, and I would also like you to join our WhatsApp group. The link I have just sent over chat. Now, before concluding the meeting, can anyone tell how our meeting started today? I know Devina was not there, so.
With a smile.
What?
With a smile, with a smile.
With a smile, wow. How diplomatic.
With club mission.
Now, the first sentence, the first context.
I think you were talking about the comfort zone.
Yeah,
the quilt. It was about the cold and the quilt. I'm forgetting the exact phrase.
Okay, so it was to appreciate the beauty of a snowflake.
Sorry, you have to be out in the cold.
Out in the cold, and that's why we have our winter here. We have to face the challenge. It is a great opportunity for us to get out of our comfort zone and take this challenge, because only getting out of our comfort zone will make us where we want to reach. So with this note, I would thank all of you. And after the closure of the meeting, we members will start our group discussions about our meetings and the rest of the things. Our guests, you, if you would like to stay with us, you are welcome. But on the in the next meeting, that is 127th meeting, I would like all of you to join us with great power, with more professionalism and more energy, because our next meeting starts
Now.
Now.
Thank you very much.
Now.
Speaking on behalf of Rupinder, yesterday.
Sir,
Can anyone stop recording, please?
Hi, everybody.